versus Kostecki, Waters versus Wood. A supercar storm erupts in New Zealand and they are racing to turn one. Payne holds his ground. He's got the inside run here as Kostecki tries to force the issue. He's extremely wide. Matty tries to close him off, and close him off he does. Into third position goes Waters. And Davison's trying to thread his way around the outside. Maximum pressure on the run down through 4. And it is nose to tail as they make their run into 5. Trouble up the back, a bit of dust being brought up, and the push and shove at the back of the pack is always extreme.
That was a brilliant start there by Matt Payne, and brilliant vehicle placement in the middle of turn 1. He pushed Kostecki wide and gave Brodie no chance to get back down the inside at the next corner. Off the road, was that Kai Allen? That's Cooper Murray. So yeah, so I just thought I saw a bump before that. I don't know whether he went in there by himself, but Cooper Murray off the road down there at turn 7.
Cool tyres, cool brakes. Got to find what the track's behaving like now as well. It will be slightly different as the day evolves and the sun moves and the temperature comes up. It's just nudging 17 degrees out there at the moment as Kostecki pulls to the inside to just show the nose in the braking area as they get down towards turn 12. About to complete the standing lap. Can't overreach through here on the opening lap. Very easy to end up running wide. Waters is in a nice position here at the moment. The call on the radio across a group of people is smooth and consistent. Look after those tyres. Do not take too much of a bite too early. Payne, Kostecki, Waters, Davison, Wood, LeBrock, Mostert, Di Pasquale, Randall Hill, out 10.
A lot of curb usage there. You can see the cars trying to gather themselves. The guys trying to gather the car off turn 4 down the inside. Kai Allen around the... Oh, I think just
on forward, tried to get through there.
He tried to get back on, didn't he?
Yeah, and forward was having a bit of a battle of his own, just trying to keep the thing straight. New colours on that car. Mr. Umani on that vehicle, orange this weekend. Takes a bit of adjusting to. Beautiful presentation, and the other team car right there on screen of Macaulay Jones with Wendy's livery, celebrating their partnership with Wendy's Burgers here in New Zealand. So it was car 4 was the other car that had been noted in what had gone on down there when you called Cooper Murray just running wide. It's been noted by race control.
So Cam Hill was all a bit chaotic, and when he speared off, Cooper Murray was going into that sand trap or into the runoff area there quite fast, and it looked like he must have had a little bit of assistance, but we'll get to the bottom of that one for you. Ryan Wood now has parked himself in behind Will Davison.
Now things will be settling. They'll be starting to get a bit of a feel for what kind of a race car they've got beneath them. But check out that pack. Everybody from Will Davison back to about Cam Hill is all but line astern.
Yeah.
Ryan Wood just caught a little bit of curb, so looking rearward from Will Davison's car. And remember, he had great form here last year as well. I'll give you an idea of the differences in the behaviours of the cars and the way they've got them set and the way in which they're driving them. Looking after those tyres out of those tight second gear turns and not overreaching. And the front, the working side front takes a battering around here as well. And that also has to be managed.
Especially around a big long left-hander there at turn 8. That's the old surface. Then it turns to the new surface for the right-hander. They've had trouble with that all weekend. Just having a look at where Will Brown and Feeney are. They haven't really made any ground. 11 and 12.
Have imposed a 15-second time penalty to car 4 for a driving infringement.
Cam Hill gets a whack from the umpire. Graphic confirmed on screen. Here's a replay of the start. Nice launch by both the boys on the front row. Brodie's trick here was to try and round him up so that he had the inside running at turn 3. He tried and tried and tried. Payne was onto it too, kept him high and wide, made sure that it was hard work for Brodie and was able to close him off by the time they got down to 2 and 3.
Yeah, nice placement. Really good racecraft, presence of mind. And as you can see, that replay there on the left-hand side. Now watch what he does there in the middle. Right near the BP Ultimate sign, he just runs him wide out into the dirty stuff. And therefore Brodie had no ability to accelerate down into turn 2. They got off the line really almost exactly the same, weren't they?
Well, and listening to that audio in the background, it was a perfect power torque conversion from Brodie Kostecki, and matching RPM, the amount of clutch slip and managing the wheel spin was just perfect, and both the boys did all but the same thing. A nice work by both of them. That's maximum concentration. They are so laser focused in those first couple of corners, and here's the remnants of what happened in the collision between Hill and Cooper Murray. Cooper ending up continuing but out wide and into the runoff area.
This will show it.
Okay, so he's getting a tag in the left rear corner and send him on his merry way. So that means that from 24th position, Cooper's got a pretty tough afternoon to deal with here. Looking at Wood getting down the inside of Davison, and he's done that nicely. Didn't spot that one early in the play. So 15 seconds hovering over the top of Cam Hill, and that will be affected when he comes in and does his first stop. Here's the replay looking at what had gone on there, and he just squeezes down the inside. There's a bit of a rattle on the process getting down the inside to be able to do it. Back to live images on the run towards turn one, and let's confirm who's where. Payne, Kostecki, Waters, 1, 2, 3. Then it's Wood, Davison, LeBrock, Mostert, Di Pasquale, Randall and Hill, and around goes Mostert, and that is a disaster for him. And where does he pop back out?
But I think Randall may have made contact with him as part of all that, because they were all alongside each other getting into turn one, weren't they?
Yeah.
So more of a look at that one.
Yeah, we'll have to unpack that one, as they will in the steward's room as well, to understand what's going on there. Two Red Bulls are tucked in behind Randall. 10-11. Mostert's down in 21st position now. When I queried where's he going to pop back out, so it takes a long time to get back on, get the rhythm right, get those tyres cleaned off and get going again. He's 11 seconds off the sharp end of town. Let's go and have a look and see what's going on here. Yeah, he did get him. Yeah, so it was a bit of a grind down the inside of Di Pasquale when Randall went down there. And then he's just tagged the rear bumper of Mostert, and no doubt the umpire is going to have a view on that one. We'll see how that plays out. So sector-wise, Mark, Ryan Wood the fastest in the first sector, Will Davison the fastest in the second sector, and Ryan Wood the fastest man in the third sector. Sam Scafidi, Bruce Stewart, not happy with the images that they saw on their telly in the pit lane bunker. As the pressure continues to build here, Waters, on that dirt down there that Mostert left on the road, you saw Waters' car just completely disconnect and step sideways on it. There's plenty of it down there. It was right on the rear bumper of Brodie when they got in there. He's got a very different line approach to a couple of the turns around here, Cam Waters. He literally just runs around the inside white line. He does it down turn 11 as well, and he was quick there yesterday. We're riding with him now. Third place, Cam Waters. See again, not doing anything fancy in terms of line taking, just run it right round the inside. So 7, now turn 8. How hard does he drill it into here? Making the direction change and managing the momentum is a challenge.
Stewards have imposed a 15-second time penalty to car 55 for a driving infringement.
Thomas Randall gets some medicine, unfortunately, for the contact down there at turn 1 when he rattled by Anton Di Pasquale. Made contact with the rear bumper of Chaz Mostert. Mostert's already moved up a little bit to position number 20. Chad?
Just looking at those replays, Neil, the thing that got my attention was the huge amount of contact that Anton Di Pasquale took in the left front, despite the huge whack. I grabbed a quick word with his engineer, Andrew Donnelly, and he said he's not reported any damage to the left front of that car, so maybe got away with one.
Free-wheel alignment. 1.3 seconds Payne over Kostecki. Matty's got a nice position from which to deal his cards now. But Brodie's got some pressure going here with Waters, and we're keeping an eye on the Red Bulls just in the background here, because Will Brown's our champ leader coming into the race. Brock Feeney in behind him, 10-11. Then Heimgartner in 12 from Evans. Then David Reynolds, Macaulay Jones. That's our cars all the way back to 15th. And here's the pressure point in the race at the moment. Battle for second.
It does look like they've tuned the Monster Mustang quite well, because through practice yesterday, the car wasn't very strong at all. And through the course of this race so far, he's definitely forged further forward, and looks like he's got slightly better balance at the moment than what Brodie's got. So that's actually a real win for Cam Waters, because I didn't think as a race car that he was going to be able to take it to Payne and Kostecki. But certainly at the moment, with a 1.2 second lead, Payne is driving the car beautifully. Kostecki now under significant pressure from Cam Waters.
Yeah, and Scafey, to add to your comment about Cam, let's remember we're right now riding or looking at what is effectively the championship leader by a mile. He's only about 7 points behind, isn't he? So he's sitting in front. Had they have started that race at the Grand Prix a few weeks ago, remember he was up near the front and Brown was down near the back, he would have already come here way in front, I would suggest. So remember though, Brown, not the best at qualifying often, but certainly like Shane Van Gisbergen, great at coming through the pack.
Yeah, good fight, Larko, exactly right.
Going back to that comment that Chad made a few moments ago about that car on screen, the DeWalt entry of Anton de Pasquale. On the last lap, he was the fastest car out there. Matt Payne, second quickest car. Waters, third fastest. Brody Kostecki, the fourth quickest car as Mostert tries to find a way. And he's chasing Golding. Hard to do it on the outside down here. To see if he can duck to the inside when they get down to the next right-handers. Just give him a little love tap. So Hill and Randall 8th and 9th, and 15-second penalties hanging over them as Mostert continues to apply the pressure, and it's making Golding's car start to misbehave as he tries to step it up to keep him at bay.
The entry to turn 7 looks a little like Siberia at Phillip Island, doesn't it, when you see the cars arrive under brakes there and have to turn slightly, trail the brake all the way to the corner, and this fast right-hander. So that big long curb, that concrete slab that's been put in on the left-hand side has made that exit speed much faster. And then the old surface for this corner here at turn 11 absolutely torches the tyres. So the right rear tyre, for the length of time that you're in the corner, and the exit wheel spin has to be controlled really diligently. See there, nice manoeuvre in the end that Mostert was able to make on Golding and was able to get down the inside there at 11.
The hard part about those recovery drives like that is we just have a look at a bit of a replay here of the combat between these two, including a slight touch, is that in order to be able to do it, you've got to do stuff like that. So for Chaz, you've got to use more of the track, you've got to get into some of the rubble, you've got to hammer the throttle more, like coming out of turn 11, he's got to use more throttle angle to get it done. That hurts the tyre. You've also got a lot of hot air around you when it comes to front tyre temperature and brake temperature, so you can get a gain early, but you might have to pay for it later because of how much intensity you had to put through it. Nick Percat, compulsory stop for him, and that car released in the Bendix entry goes back out onto the racetrack, car number 10. So trying something a little different from a strategy standpoint with 29 laps remaining. Talking to him yesterday about what a magic carpet ride he had at the AGP with a car that had a ton of speed. When he rolled it out yesterday, where did that go? And this is one of the great conundrums of the business, consistency.
You've answered everybody behind, so no pressure. And on par with guys ahead.
Is the big challenge in the sport. And that's one of the things that helped deliver Will Brown a championship, consistency. So he's already been on the podium a pile of times this year and is continuing in that same trend that we saw that helped contribute to that championship in 2024.
And there's going to be some real pressure. 3 different forward teams there between Shell V-Power with a revised livery this weekend, the Tickford organisation, and just in behind there with Ryan Ward at Walkinshaws, because that little undercut benefit I heard you say before in the Hino Hub, that you get a really big gain around this layout with the undercut. So who's going to be the first to blink here between those 3? And then what's the pressure like in the pit to be able to do it? You see Macaulay Jones just dribbling off the edge of the road there. That's on the way down to turn 2. This could be a safety car for this.
That's Paul Scalzo in the background on the radio, and that's been an engineering change for Macaulay this year. Spoke to Paul this morning. Been sitting he was sitting 15th before this. They had a problem yesterday where it melted the loom, and that's why he lost that time in practice 1.
It's that concrete strip looking back from Thomas Randall to Will Brown,
who's sitting in 9th, but he's got a penalty over him. So in net terms, he's further down the order, and Will Brown will be aware of that. So you've got to be a little bit careful how you manage it.
Safety car on standby.
Safety car speed limiters in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Safety car speed limiters must be activated.
Well, Thomas Randall managed that to the extent that when he jumped on the brakes, he locked them. So he might have even put a mark on that tyre. Macaulay's parked off on the verge.
Here we go.
So people are reacting and taking the compulsory stop. Now, this will also be good news for Mostert with a field compression to help him get back into the game here. So there'll be a mad scramble. 27 laps remaining. Go back to the Hino Hub where I talked about last year's longest stint on a slightly different version of the soft tyre was 24 laps. It's a big ask. Now, the other big question here, and who's trapped in the background there? It's Will Davison. It's a big ask to do this many laps. Has he got him boxed in there now?
He's got his boxed in, yeah.
And do they do 2 or 4? So we'll need our team in the pit lane to keep us up to speed on all that. Ryan Wood has to thread the needle. He had to deal with the Red Bull car, and Ryan comes out behind LeBrock. And who's missing the rim?
It's a wheel that's been hit by another car. So there's been a tyre come off a car.
Oh,
then
stationary.
It's been hit.
This leader did not pit. Matt Payne went past pit lane, so he's currently out on the track doing 80k an hour. All this chaos is going on in pit lane. Brodie Kostecki could not get out of his box. He was trapped behind one of the Walkinshaw Andretti United cars. And I think when he's tried to get out of the box, he's grabbed one of the wheels that came off a car. So I think all the wheels are on the cars.
Right.
It's one of the change wheels that's now found its way into pit lane. If it wasn't so hot, I'd go and tip it over and find out whose it is. I might go do that now.
On top of that, I think that was doubly bad news, Garth, for Will Davison, who was parked behind him. I counted 13 seconds lost for Will Davison. I ran a stopwatch for Brock Feeney. He lost 11 in the stack at the other end.
Yeah, we're just looking at the replay. Thanks, boys. Yeah, so as Cam Hill came out, he clobbered one of the tyres from the Jet Courier's DJR cars and has carted it out into the lane. My immediate response was, has that come off a car? That's not the case. So Matt Payne stays out, but the problem for him is trundling around at the speed that Garth was talking about. And how's that congestion down there? And what a challenge for the Red Bull blokes to... So Garth's just going to... There we go. Give us the report, GT.
Are you sure it's his? No, he's parked at another team.
Let's have a look at the markings on it, Garth.
It was Brodie Kostecki's wheel, but it was Justin Burns from Walkinshaw Andretti United that delivered it back to DJR. So is this thing yours? But it was Cam Hill that actually collected it. So Matt Payne has been doing 80k an hour. So if this safety car works as it should, every other car on track right now is doing 80k an hour. So what this has done is actually benefit Kai Allen, who was deep in the field. He didn't have to double stack. Penrite now have to execute a really nice stop. And if it all works as it should, Matt Payne should still come out in the lead.
See how the theory holds up. Thank you for the update. And the part number references whose equipment was laying on the ground.
Nice collaboration there with another team grabbing another wheel. And
Clear. So limiter stays on for now. Only limiter stays on for now. Racing to the safety car line. Looking all good here, mate. So racing to the safety car line. Limiter on. Racing to the safety car line. Okay, mate. All good. We maintain P1.
So he got away with it.
He got away with it, but Brodie Kostecki's the massive loser here.
Well, all that congestion, because we spotted Will Davison trapped, and then we spotted Brodie battling to get out. Oh, and Randall. So lots of weird things going on out there at the moment.
And one of the biggest things about this layout, so the Taupō pit lane is actually quite extended, the length of the pit lane, but what actually happens is in all these segments. So within the segments, each of the garages are really confined. So it's not really the width of the fast lane or the service lane per se. It's actually how condensed each of the garages are. Where do you park, and then how do you not interrupt another car to get back out?
Sorry, Larko, we don't have you there at the moment. We'll come back to you.
This mic, I'll go to this mic. Okay, so Scafey, you're so on the money, buddy, because I was watching Kostecki get jammed in there and trying to work out why it is. Red Bull's here at the front garage. They've got all this clear air in front of them. Come for a quick walk with me, right? So plenty of space there, which by default gives this team behind them plenty of space as well. But look at this. See this couple of metres of breezeway here? Just factor that in, right? 2 garages, breezeway. Then we get to here. Now, here's Kostecki's pit, right? 2 garages, no breezeway. So it had a compounding effect. Space, 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 bang. He was jammed in here, had nowhere to go, as was Will Davo behind him.
Yeah, well done, Lucko. And that's exactly what I was trying to get to, because it's actually how condensed each of those segments are. And that's the drama
Speed
for
limiters to be deactivated.
the
Speed limiters to be
DJR
deactivated,
cars.
please.
The other thing I noticed was when Brock was departing, just how acute the angle was for him to get around the cone marker from the Red Bull Ampol Racing Garage as well. So even though in theory it's a clean shot out, there's actually a bit of negotiation involved in that. PP safety car has got control of the field. Gus digging around for more chat. Let's go.
There was a bit going on in pit lane, obviously, guys, and in the Brad Jones Racing Garage, Bryce Ford has had to come back to pit lane and do a second stop because in all the chaos of the double stack, one of Andre Heimgartner's tyres that came off his car got picked up and then put on Bryce Fullwood's car in the second part of the double stop, and that's a big no-no. You can't use your teammates' tyres, so they came in and rectified that. The cause of all this safety car was another Brad Jones Racing car, Macaulay Jones, in the Wendy's Camaro, and that was a crank angle sensor. So that's one of the sensors that talks to the ECU, that tells where the crank is relative to the camshaft. They weren't talking to each other, so the engine has shut down.
Engine control unit. Thank you for the update. Important information there. So here's the resulting chaos in the pit lane that the two marks have just been talking about. So Will Davison is the Jet Courier's car that's parked up at 45 degrees, trying to squeeze in as soon as possible. And there's that cone marker that I spoke about. So Ward is at quite an acute angle for him to depart.
Yeah. So have a look how close all that is.
Yeah.
And then watch. Oh!
Yeah, so this is what I was talking about a moment ago. So it's no easy departure out of there for Triple Eight either.
And I think the teams probably would have forced that to try to make it as fair as possible based on how condensed every other pit is after the Red Bull Ampol Racing team. So as you can see there, the way to then get serviced, you've got to be able to park the car in the right spot. The problem is when Will Davison was parked there, then it obviously it impacts who's trying to get out from the pit area behind it. So I'm just looking now. Brodie Kostecki's gone all the way back from 2nd to 7th.
Just an unusual one here between Thomas Randall, who believes he is ahead of car 2. He thinks he beat him to the safety car line when he finished his stop. That's what the extra aggression is on the racetrack there, right there with the 55. And on top of that, obviously being a safety car, he couldn't serve the extra 15 seconds. So that's still sits there right now against his name.
Yeah, which means that it just crushes him at the end of the race. Thanks for the update. So here's the what's going on here. We'll see how he goes when he gets to the blend. He's actually doing a bit of motocross in the process.
You commented why he almost went off. The reason he almost went off, he was trying to get to that line.
Now I know why. Yeah, that's right. I needed to see that again. Thanks for that, team.
Yeah, he's ahead.
Yeah, he is. But I think what was happening is everybody was looking at him actually running onto the edge of the grass.
But he's basically by a car length. He's in front of Ryan Wood.
They sorted it out before we go green.
And I'm just standing in the garage for Walkinshaw and Andretti United, and they agreed with that. They're saying to tell Tom to go past Ryan. Ryan doesn't want to move, but tell Tom to keep going. So they sort of agree with what the situation is, but I don't think the message is getting to Tom Randall.
So James Del Zoppo on the left from Supercars is telling Terry Kerr at WAU what's going on here, and Richard Harris in a conversation as well. He's the...
That Randall just was in front of us because we're in front of it. We're trying to let Randall pass. Because you tell Randall to go.
Yeah. Well, Anthony McDonald there as well. So they're in, there's no argument, they're in full agreement.
Yeah.
So just execute it.
That doesn't normally happen.
No.
That's not a normal state of affairs.
Rare unanimity.
Exactly.
All right, so after all of that, a little spike in proceedings, it's Payne and Waters. Di Pasquale's been a beneficiary from it all because he's up into 3rd position. And I mentioned that he was the quickest car on the racetrack in that early phase of the race at one stage. LeBrock, Wood. Now Randall's got the penalty hanging over him. Kostecki, who got hurt in all of that. And it was... And it was Will Brown, when I was talking about the fact that I thought it was Feeney that was wriggling out of the pit lane, it was Brown.
Race control, addressing it. knows, let him know, and then we can communicate.
All right, that's sorted, I think.
That was Brad Wisherson
Yeah.
there from Tickford, and James Del Zoppo is still in the middle of all that because he's still
He's the
trying to
umpire.
broker some arrangement, and now he's parked it in front of him.
That was hard.
That was quite confusing, especially because there was actually general agreement.
Imagine if it was a real war for something. All right, 24 laps remaining. This is helping the cause in terms of trying to protect the life of the tyres through to the end of this race.
Race control to safety car. Return to pit lane this lap, please.
And then we will get on with it. See how this is going to play out. Payne's job in the opening sequence of the race was really impressive. He resisted the pressure through turns 1, 2, 3, which is where he's highly vulnerable off the start. Didn't blink, held his ground, actually built a tiny little margin. The pressure was coming on between second and third, between Di Pasquale and Waters. That's now been changed, that picture, because in the case of, should I say Kostecki, in the case of Kostecki and Waters. So for Kostecki, he's been hurt in that process. The reason for mentioning Di Pasquale was the speed that car was showing, and he's now copped a benefit out of all of that, and there he is on screen. So keep an eye on that DeWalt entry, see what sort of pace he can now affect on the field. Charlie Schwerkolt is the owner of that outfit. That's him on screen, and these are live points for the way in which things are at the moment. We're still a long way from a checkered flag, so you can't get too excited about what all of that means.
And that was Jess Marler, the Managing Director of General Motors Special Vehicles, when they announced
Thank you,
this
safety
week,
car. Confirming lights are out.
yesterday, that Team 18, Charlie's team, will be the General Motors official homologation team. So they'll look after the homologation of the Camaro moving forward with Jeremy Moore from General Motors, and that team with Richard Holway in there have the capability to do that engineering work and be able to work with all the other teams and share the information. So a big decision there from General Motors. We're getting ready now for a restart.
I was thinking further while you were chatting there, Mark, about just the behaviour of the tyre that we've seen so far this year. It has shown great strength in longevity. So that'll play towards helping them now manage to the end of this race, showing 23 remaining. We flicked from yellow to green, and so Matt Payne has control of the field now. Line astern, and the typical story when the field's bunched up like this is you can just about guarantee there will be more biff and barge on this lap as they all try to assert themselves for position. Waters looking hungry, trying to stay with him. We know that the speed of Di Pasquale's car is there. Jack LeBrock's been a beneficiary in this process as well. He's now well in the game. We are racing one more time. 22 remain. Down the inside, Wood gets into the side of Thomas Randall and just moves him up and high and wide in the process.
Glad they argued about that so much.
Reversed that process pretty quickly. And then Kostecki, keep an eye on what Brodie can do here. He does have the benefit of a somewhat compressed field, and we know that he's got a good car. He's got a lot of work to do from this point.
Some chaos in the back of that shot there because it looked like Kay Allen fired down the inside. I'm not sure which car it was. Heimgartner there bumping on the way down with Golding into turn 7, so that was wheel-to-wheel contact.
And as a result, Andre got carted up high and wide on the exit. David Reynolds in the Tradie Energy entry on the outside with James Courtney just trying to sneak by in the process at turn 9. Then it's Heimgartner, then it's Evans in behind him. So heaps of shuffling in this mid-pack at the moment. Trying to figure a way around the outside of it all there is Brock Feeney. And that may have worked for him even.
I think it did.
Yeah, I think it actually worked quite nicely for him. Not completely closed that deal though. So into the braking area now, coming into turn 12. Is he going to be able to close that off? Yeah, he does. So fastest lap belonging to Matt Payne's sprint race means there's 5 points for that one as well, if he can hang on to it. So he's opened up 0.6 over Cam Waters. this is a hot spot on this racetrack. There's been a bit of action through practice earlier in the day and again in this race, and that'll continue through the afternoon, reminding you that we've got another supercar race to come later on this afternoon on a different type of tyre.
Pretty aggressive stuff going in the middle of the field here. Matt Payne just half a second up the road on Cam Waters, so Cam Waters is absolutely in this. Remember, before the safety car, that Waters was putting a lot of pressure on Kostecki. So he's shown really good pace, and this is, again, shown right there. Dick Squally and LeBrock in behind, Ryan Wood. Bunny's trade power pass. And as you can see here, Ryan Wood straight down the inside, very aggressive. Little bump in the middle of the corner. Thomas has to run a little bit wide, but he knows he's got the 15-second penalty, so he just come out of the throttle before turn 2 and let Ryan take over position 5.
And this was a mid-pack move by Brock Feeney, who just went all the way around the outside to stay away from the congestion, and the high line worked. And by the time he got down to the braking area at turn 12, he was able to clean up Jackson Evans. So that was a nice job. Tom Randall's gone faster in the first sector. Jack LeBrock's quick man through the middle, and the fastest car in the final sector of the racetrack at the moment is David Reynolds. Has a bit of a sneak peek down the inside. It's Matt Payne. He's quicker in that final sector, and he retains the quickest lap of the race at the moment, and a margin of 0.4 of a second over Waters.
Looking at the totem there, Dick Pasquale, great job up 5 spots. LeBrock. Will Brown up 5. How's Kai Allen's job so far? Up 12 positions, Golding up 8, Courtney up 11. So some really good performances in the middle of the field there. David Reynolds also up 6.
Some of that also coming from what went on in pit lane.
Yeah.
Tightening up a bit here.
He's not going away.
No, he's not going away. To begin with, I thought Matt might have had a little bit of extra margin on him, but this is an opportune moment to jump on board with Cam Waters to focus on where the strengths and weaknesses are in these cars. And this particular area, Waters has been very strong, so strong that he's now right on the back of the race leader through that left-hander. He runs it round the inside in a very different approach to Matt, and he's right on him.
Lights on. Just flick the lights on then.
Now, it was down here on a couple of occasions earlier in the day where the monster car was stressed under brakes, and he made a couple of little errors. Not the case, though, in racing configuration. Out of the final corner now. This time through, it's going to be 19 laps to go, and that is officially 0.3 of a second on the computer between Payne and Waters. Big pressure on Matt Payne in the early phase of the race. Now in this second phase of the race, and he is not blinking.
He's going to have to be careful with his line down at turn 11, because he runs a really wide open line in the middle of the corner, and very easy there for the line that Cam Waters to take to actually get the car up the inside of him. So Cam Waters will have already picked that out. He knows that he's got a different technique at that corner to Matt Payne, but if he goes and does the perfect race line that he likes, Cam Waters will park that thing down the inside. No, there he goes, turn 11.
This is Mostert on the move. He's battling with Will Davison here, and he's up on the outside. He's got Jackson Evans underneath him as well. So he's still trapped in this pack. These fellas all battling around 16, 17 at the moment, remembering that Mostert went all the way down the order after that contact. This is the run out of 9. This little kink at 10 is a bit of a nothing burger, and then into the left-hander at the hairpin. There's a move further up there as Feeney tries to get by on Courtney and showed the nose, but he didn't quite get there in the end as they got to the latter part of the corner.
Got a reasonable run. Just trying to get himself now in off this little chicane complex to try to get a run onto the start. Feeney straight put himself in a position to outbrake him. James did a nice job on the exit there. He jumped away about 3/4 of a car length. Mostert now just trying to show the nose and intimidate Will Davison.
It's very important ground for Feeney to make if he's able, because he's come into the event in 3rd position in the championship, having shown tremendous qualifying pace to this point. Coming into the weekend, prior to this weekend, he was either pole or on the front row for every single race, but some of the conversions been difficult. So Mostert continues to claw forward. He's back up to 16th position here now, and having trouble just breaking away from this group. There's Courtney in the Snowy River Caravan's entry. He's continuing to have Lots of arm-to-arm combat here with Feeney that I just spoke about. So he came in 49 adrift from the lead of the championship. Will Brown came in with a 7-point margin. Back to the front end of town, out of turn 11. And it's back out to 0.5 of a second on this lap between Payne and Waters.
I think Matty's really got to try to press on here a little bit, just extend that gap just by a couple of car lengths. So he's not vulnerable to that move we were talking about at turn 11. He's out a little bit further than he was there before. He's up to 0.6 of a second. It was 0.3 a couple of laps ago. And he's got to do it in a very disciplined way, because he's got to be able, this is the corner, so see the inside line. Matt uses this sort of traditional wide centre, and if you can get down the inside, he'll be able to take it off him.
Yeah, Matty double apexes it, he kisses it early and then again later, whereas Cam just runs it around the inside. Very different approach. Payne's now back to 0.4 as that little margin continues to seesaw. Now, Taupō was on the podium on a couple of occasions here last year, and that earned him a trophy. Oh no, he's run wide, it's cost him.
That was Courtney down the inside of him. So he was trying to battle his way through, and then James just parked it down the inside there at turn 5. Now, this is going to be interesting. David Reynolds down the inside of Heimgartner. He just runs him into the dirt slightly, gets away with it, but that was wild.
Plenty of radio chatter out there at the moment, plenty of free references being handed out.
So definitely Courtney was down the inside of Mostert, and that was essentially 3 or 4 spots that Mostert lost after the fight back, and he's back on the inside again.
This is ongoing, so Heimgartner having a run here at Reynolds into 12, and he's down there. Makes the deal stick. That brings him back up into 12th position for Heimgartner. He's got a bit of fresh air in front of him. Tony Woodward, the engineer for Andre Heimgartner in the background. Then it's that little margin back to Courtney, who's still got hand-to-hand combat going with Brock Feeney. These fellas battling for 14th and 15th. What's that margin doing up the front, Mark? It's got back out to 0.6 again. It's fluctuating in a 0.2 of a second margin. Look up the back of this little pack here. Does he be able to squeeze through on the inside Chaz Mostert? And this is the challenge when you're busy in the back of the pack, isn't it? So he's got Will Davison to contend with here. We jump on board.
Oh, he's lost more there because Forward's got him at the same time. He had to come out of the throttle, you heard that. So for Forward to get through at turn 8, Chaz had to just slightly come out of the throttle, and that lost his momentum. So he's been bashed around a bit in the last couple of laps in that area there from turn 5 through to turn 9.
And all that manoeuvring hurts tyres. You've got to take the car out of the ideal line position, use more of everything. You're also sitting in a queue of cars, there's a lot of heat. Front tyres are affected by it. We think that the new tyre, from the general comments from the majority of drivers, are that they're coping better with that temperature than they have previously. As Feeney tries to seek a path down the inside of Courtney, tries to give him a bit of a helping hand in the process. And there's more helping hands down here as well. Everywhere you look, there's some combat, and is he going to hang on to it? No, he's gone. So Thomas Randall rotates, and is he going to be able to get away with it without wearing another car? Thankfully, yes.
Yeah, it's got turn. Copy, mate, copy, understood. Just let us know if those tyres are okay. Yeah.
This is very willing out there at the moment, folks. We've seen some wild racing through the course of the 25 season.
It's not done.
No, it's not done at all. So Forward had to fire down the inside there just to cover Mostert, because Mostert was coming at him.
How many cars are in that pack?
It's about 8 or 9, isn't there? Yeah.
My goodness. And so, in fact, it's pretty much 13 to 22 in one gang.
Yeah.
And anyone flinches or cops an elbow in this process, and you get shuffled out of the pack, and the freight train just rocks on by. All right, up the front, though, it's a 1.2 second margin, near enough, between Payne and Waters.
Payne's been very nice with his tyre treatment. I think Cam tried pretty hard from the restart to put some pressure on, but Matt Payne's been able, not only just from a pace perspective, but his level of consistency on the last lap, 28.5. He was the fastest car on the track again. Ryan Wood was the second fastest car.
We're riding with Chaz Mostert. We're looking at Bryce Forward, his former teammate. There's a post-race investigation to have a look at, and there's another incident that's going to be studied between Thomas Randall and also Brodie Kostecki. Is Chaz going to be able to sneak down the inside here? Not quite able to do it.
So watch for turn 5. So this is the specialty for Mostert. He fires across this inside curb at turn 4, then he plunges down the inside there. He's just a little bit too far back that time, but his signature move is the one straight down the inside. We saw a brilliant move last year with Will Brown and Brock Feeney in that exact spot when they were battling as teammates. This is where he had a spin yesterday, down at turn 7. This is looking back from Will Davison, I think. Oh, gee, that's hit hard.
Actually, a fairly decent crunch, wasn't it?
Yeah.
James needs eyes in the back of his head today.
So this is the
all
one.
these. Yeah, look at this one. He gets right up there, and then they interlock, and that was what punted Chaz wide, and then that cost him pretty heavily. He's still actually trying to untangle the remnants of that. And this one between Reynolds and Heimgartner resulted in Heimgartner ending up with 2 on the dirt. And subsequently, the battle that they've been having, he's got back on top of him.
So I don't know whether Brodie bumped him or not. It looked like it was in a straight line earlier on, but I don't know whether he gave it to him on the way.
Yeah, well, he certainly
corner.
did there.
Yeah.
And so this is the one that you saw that race control have noted. Good luck.
Race control, attention all teams. Stewards have imposed a 15-second time penalty to car 38 for a driving infringement.
Okay, so they've just determined that that's the case. So Kostecki does get a penalty. So Wood on LeBrock, turn 1.
Nice.
Actually, very good work. Great respect from both those drivers to be able to get that one nicely done. So openly speculating whether Brodie and the Brodie-Tom Randall thing was going to result in a whack, and it turns out that it has. So Brodie's now got the 15 seconds on, hanging on him here as well, which is a great shame given the pace and the position. So he started in such a commanding position in this race, and this one's going to get away from him.
So Ryan Wood now has got Anton De Pasquale in his sights. So Matt Payne, the Cam Waters, 1.4 seconds. Another 1.5 seconds back is De Pasquale, but Ryan Wood now released after the pass on LeBrock. Will be putting maximum pressure on to get to the back of the DeWalt Camaro, and a big run down here now. So you see Davison down the inside of Courtney. They've got some history over the years, those two hard heads. And then right in behind, you see them just trying to get a nice exit, is Brock Feeney. And Feeney's been battling for a few laps now with James. He flicks to the inside, gets that done. Now Mostert parks in there, gives him a bump also. So James loses 2 spots on the way in there to turn 1.
Momentum's such a critical thing, isn't it? So the minute James had that little rough up down there and just lost a tiny little bit of pace, bang, he ends up losing 2 spots in the process.
Now I think Mostert might have been a little bit of payback on the previous one down from turn 5. So I think Chaz might have just opened the steering and said, you probably need to be a bit wider here now. I'll help you out there.
Payne, meantime, has got a cushion. I wouldn't describe it as comfortable, but he's got one. It's 1.2 seconds. And
now,
so here's that little return of serve. So that's Mostert, Courtney, turn 1 exit. There's a bit of it going on out there at the moment, isn't it? So there's been some lively combat throughout the championship season. So he's got to the midway point of the car, and this was after Feeney was able to sneak down the inside as well.
Golding, who I didn't mention before, was actually up 8 positions. So he's done a pretty good job, James Golding. And that would have come from some of that chaos that was unfolding in the pit area also. That won't just be car speed that's got him there, but he's trying to get to Heimgartner now. This is actually for position 10. So Payne, Waters, De Pasquale, Wood, LeBrock, Brown, Kostecki, Hill, Heimgartner. Remember, Kostecki has got that penalty to be applied at the end of the the race. 15 seconds for he, Cam Hill and Thomas Randall.
So of those that are up the top of the championship battle, which include Brown, Waters and Feeney, the greatest beneficiary of the way things are panning out with this race at the moment is that Waters in that current position, even if he doesn't get over the top of Matt Payne, this is going to serve him quite well. And he needs it after the challenging run that he had in Melbourne at the Grand Prix several weeks ago. They got off to a huge start at Sydney Motorsport Park. Lots of seesaw up and downs for him in Melbourne. And looking pretty good here, capitalising at the moment. Just kind of get back where we knew the pace of the car was all along.
And so is this bloke.
Yeah, Will Brown.
Will Brown was 13th. He started 13th today. He's up 7 spots, putting a huge amount of pressure on LeBlanc to get into P5. So if he can make 8 positions, you just spoke about the job from Waters, which has been exceptional, but on a hard layout to overtake and all the chaos we've seen unfold so far in this race, Will Brown's done a very good job in terms of a championship contender.
That's absolutely been his story. It's actually been his career story, but it was evident in 2024 and also very much in this championship season as well. And this is what is spoken about a lot by the drivers and the engineers, a lot in their pre-briefings, in the gaps between the race meetings and the way they approach the days, is that you're not going to win every race and you won't get on the podium in every race. It's how you manage the bottom of the curve that often determines what happens at the end of the championship year. So if you're Will Brown, you've come in here and you've got a 7-point margin and you're on for a battle here, 4th and 5th, managing it intelligently when you consider where he qualified, that's profit. Absolutely. That's a very impressive run. He's been very good at that and not damaging the car along the way in those battles.
There's your Pizza Hut biggest mover, Kai Allen. Very good job by young Kai in his rookie season. So looking at where Will Brown might be able to put a move on, I reckon turn 5 looks the spot. Remember, he did that to Feeney last year. He comes off this corner really nicely, but it's hard to come out of 11 and have enough momentum to get down the inside for the final complex. So he'll do his best through turn 1, 2, 3 and 4. Oh, off the road fast there. Cooper Murray has gone off, and I'm just trying to pick where that is because that has gone off the road. That's about 100 metres away from anywhere. And lucky not to make contact with the tyre wall. So that's back on the other side of the road. So that's the main straight coming back down from 11 to 12.
So is he going to be able to get it out of there is the open question. So was he battling someone or did he manage to do that on his own? He is running.
That's off turn 9.
Yeah. Hence the speed and the distance that he went.
Yeah.
All right, so he's got that back on. So there was a slight risk there of potential for a safety car deployment. Let's see if we can understand. So we're looking at Cooper. He's had a run down the inside. James is battling him. They've just interlocked and it's shot him to the outside. Oh, wow, how's that for a sweep?
That's wild.
And James also just trying to get a move done on his teammate in the same process.
That was wild.
All happening out there at the moment, isn't it?
They're playing for keeps this year, aren't they?
Oh my goodness.
I reckon this is probably the wildest start to a season I've seen in a long, long time.
They had a little experiment with the front geometry on that car for Friday practice 1. It didn't really work, so he kind of lost a session, but generally happy with his overall pace this year, Cooper Murray, and a bit of an ear-to-ear grin, loving life, you know, being right in the thick of these battles. He won't have enjoyed ending up so wide and almost making contact with the fence. So that's off Cooper's car. We understand that stuff that we saw in the middle of the racetrack here. Meantime, this little battle that's going on involves LeBlanc and Brown, 5th and 6th position at the moment. They've got a little margin over Brody Kostecki. He's got the penalty hanging over his head together with Cam Hill. So Payne at the moment, 1.2 seconds, pretty much static for the last 4 or 5 laps.
Yeah, look for this spot. So he makes ground through 3. He gets right across the inside curve at turn 4, but he's just a little bit too far back. I reckon when he gets himself through turn 4, he will actually put a move on LeBlanc down there at 5. That'll be the spot. But you can see there that part of the grille falling out of the front of the Red Bull Camaro also. He's given him a little bit of a bump through there. So that's through 7. Then a little bit of throttle modulation for turn 8. Then this fast turn in. And he gets a really good run this time. That's an excellent run, but he's on the wrong side of the road. So he's got to make up his mind whether he tries to outbrake him. He does. That was a really nice pass. He was able to just generate that mid-corner speed at turn 9, and that generated the exit speed he needed to get up the inside and then eventually in front of him. That's a really, really nice overtaking manoeuvre there by Will Brown.
Impressive racecraft. Yeah, and it's about managing the millimetres, just trying to squeeze every last tiny little bit of performance out of that car. So well done, nice work. Pretty impressive. Let's have a look at that. Remember, qualified in 13th position. These guys have been having a tremendous exchange just in the last several laps. And then he gets up on the what was the inside and then becomes the outside, but actually cleared him earlier. You were speculating, is he going to get it done? And he did it, so nice work.
It's a good battle at the front still because Anton Di Pasquale hasn't gone away. So we've been talking about the battle that Waters has been putting on, but Anton Di Pasquale, he hasn't gone away, Neil. His pace in the race has been absolutely excellent.
Well, and commented on that earlier, that he was showing as the quickest car, even though when he was down the order, but after the safety car intervention, he came out and certainly got some ground out of all the stuff that went on in the pit lane. And so, and I mentioned that he's already been on the podium a couple of times here in 2024.
Geez, this whole homologation team thing works.
Not sure that it works that quickly, but you'll take it.
Straight up.
Yeah, take it.
First Camaro by a country mile.
Yeah. Well, when the brass are all here, making sure that they're getting a return on investment, it's a good time to deliver, isn't it?
Do you want to be the factory team? Absolutely.
Beautiful shot looking over the turn 12, 13, 14 complex here. Our race leader, the margin to second, the margin to third, the margin to fourth. It's tight. Make a tiny little error anywhere, and those, what look like cushions, completely disappear. It's certainly not done at this stage. What are we, just 6 to go?
Yeah, but to your point, right through the Ryan Wood, there's nothing in it. It's 3 seconds.
Now, that little incident that we witnessed before where it was rough and tumble between Brodie, I beg your pardon, between Cooper and between James Courtney, they've decided that there's no further case to, and that's been confirmed, no further case to answer on that one. The graphics coming up on screen.
That's sensible, isn't it?
Yep. 1.8 seconds gap, Payne Waters.
Anton, fastest car on the last lap. So, again, to that point, he's only 0.8 of a second in behind Cam Waters. So again, you might want to make a little mistake late. There's the gaps you can see.
Well, the pressure's coming off Matt Payne, 1.8 seconds now, but the pressure's coming on here in the battle for the minors, second, third, fourth at the moment. Then there's a decent gap back to this next group that's headed by Will Brown, who's cleared Jack now. But Jack's got his hands full with Brodie Kostecki.
It's Chris Payne on the left and Jess Barler on the right. Chris is commercial manager with General Motors Special Vehicles. Jess Barler is the boss. And the two of them have been working very, very hard in the last month or so in terms of being able to come up with the right plan for General Motors and have the right model for their homologation and their future participation in supercars. Great for them to commit.
Got to move on here. Brodie gets it done down the inside, and Cam, does he get in there as well? Gives him a little rough up along the way. It doesn't work in his favour when they get to the next right-hander though. 5 to go. 1.9 seconds, call it 2 seconds for Payne over Waters now.
So fly down the inside here, nice job.
Yeah, now, very important, Barry Ryan just jumped on the radio to Jack LeBrock and said he's got a penalty, let him go. Got 15 seconds on him, so remember that Baz is vastly experienced in this game. He's in the back room for Jack LeBrock, and so you don't need to get into a fight to the death in that one.
That's exactly right. You also don't want to get caught with young Kai Allen in behind, who's made up 13 positions. Kai Allen's the next car in behind Jack LeBrock. So Matt Payne, spoke earlier about him being the tyre whisperer. He's done that today. He's done a beautiful job of looking after the tyre and making sure that he could flow the Penrite Mustang beautifully all day. And that's exactly what's happened. But that gap there between second, third and fourth continues to crunch down. 0.7 of a second between each of those cars now. So we're on board with Ryan Wood, young New Zealander from Wellington, who's done a tremendous job here at this venue. We did a great job at Taupō last year. He's qualified well in this race. He's racing very hard. He started on the second row of the grid in 4th. He's ended up right now in behind Anton De Pasquale, battling for 3rd spot.
So interesting also to just think about performance of the cars and the tyres in this phase of the race. So they've bled a couple of seconds away from peak, but they've actually hung in quite nicely, and that was an interesting question leading into the races. How would they go? Because you'll take some of what is learnt today and apply it to tomorrow, where they'll use the same compound of tyre. So one of the important questions has been asked here, and now got some really solid information about how they'll behave over the journey. 1.954 seconds the gap. You can see just gone out to 2 seconds Payne over Waters. See the plus and minuses in this little battle between De Pasquale and Wood. Woody's doing everything he can to make it 2 Kiwis on the podium. He's driven well.
He has, and he's applied himself really well. You haven't seen the lock wheels, you haven't seen the car off sideways in the grass doing anything weird. He's driven the car very accurately, very methodically. And anytime that you can limit the mistakes around here, even on all that hustle and bustle now, remember all that drama was going on with Thomas Randall off the back of the safety car. He put a really good authoritative move straight on Thomas Randall. Nice race management from the young Kiwi.
This is Davison on top of Reynolds, 12th and 13th position. And just tucked in behind them, you've got Chaz Mostert, who's had a challenging day at the office. He's made ground, there's some points in it, but understanding that when he came into this event in 4th in the championship, he needs every point he can get at the moment. And it wasn't an overly successful AGP for him several weeks ago. 2.1 seconds, Payne is just slowly drifting away from the group here. He used a lot of curb through that right-handed, Chaz, doesn't he?
Doesn't he? He loves it,
got it onto the gravel there in those shots that we took of him early. He might be able to threaten David Reynolds here on current form.
Yep.
Gets him another couple of valuable points. Could get him up to 13th if it continues.
Here's young Kai Allen putting pressure on the rock. So 3 laps remaining. Kai's a chance to round him up. That's for 8th spot. That'll be 14 positions if he's able to do it. You can see those margins. He's been able to drag those lap times back on Jack in the last 4 laps. Interesting for me today, although the battle for Mostert coming through the field after his early dramas, he's had to work especially hard. But Brock Feeney has had no pace today.
No.
So
he wasn't happy yesterday either.
Yeah,
So
it's
it's
just
just 15th at the moment. Yeah. We've got 2 laps remaining. Fastest lap of the race belongs to Matt Payne. He's set a new record. Came to the event with Ryan Wood. I mentioned in the Hino Hub at 27.6. That number now sits at a 27.5. He's got the margin out to nearly 3 seconds now. But we're watching, waiting, and wondering what's going to happen 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Waters, De Pasquale, Wood.
Got him. Wood's got him.
Look at that.
He's put a move on him down at turn 5.
How's that for a move? And that changes the complexion of the podium. So I just finished saying we were wondering, and he's got it happening. Richard Harris, engineer, one of the new combinations in 2025. And so that displaces De Pasquale, who, if he had continued in the current vein, would have had his 3rd podium in a row at this location, given what he achieved here in 2024.
So excellent job. 2 Kiwis on the podium if they stay as they are. And 3 Mustangs, Payne, Waters and Wood from 3 different teams.
Brown Kostecki, remembering, and there's no point racing him because Brody's got a penalty. He's got a 15-second penalty hovering over him, so quite wisely, and will have been informed. No point just carrying on too aggressively with that one, as this little battle between Jack LeBrock and Kai Allen continues. 3,200 metres of racing to go to conclude our 8th race in the championship, the first in New Zealand this weekend. For Matt Payne, he's done and dusted. He's away. But there's a bunch of little stories to unfold at the back of the pack here, and this is one of them.
Cam Hill's trying real hard to get Brown late here.
Who's got a 15-second penalty as well.
Yeah.
So again, for Will Brown, no need to engage in combat that's fruitless.
So excellent drive by young Matt Payne. We know his prowess around this venue. We saw a brilliant performance in qualifying earlier. But for Matt Payne, who at just 22 years of age, beautiful. This is a spot, isn't it?
Yeah, this is the replay. We just caught the tail end of it, and he did it nicely. Got the whole car up the inside, and big round of applause, elation inside the garage at Walkinshaw Andretti United for Ryan Wood. As we come back and focus now on our leader out of turn 11 for the final time in the first race at Taupō this weekend. This has been a huge, huge story into the final complex of corners. He resisted all the pressure when he jumped off the line from pole position from Brodie Kostecki. They got their stop effected well, and then in the second phase of the race, he's done something spectacular. New Zealand, how is this for a story? Matt Payne in position number 1, Ryan Wood in position number 3. A dominant podium for the Kiwis.
Well done.
Cam Waters, the meat in the sandwich, and that is a big moment in the career of Matty Payne. 3rd career win, the first one for him in 2025. Sparkle in his eyes, and justifiably proud of a beautiful drive today.
Certainly was. He's not all hot and sweaty. He was able to compose himself, drove the car absolutely beautifully. 4.1 seconds was the eventual margin, and he just looked after those rear tyres, drove the car smoothly, kept the momentum up, and was able to prevail against one of the very best operators in Cam Waters.
And dip our hat to his teammate Kai Allen. Probably benefit from some of the madness in the pit lane, but he got into the top 10 as well. So big day for Penrite Racing. Congratulations to all of the men and women inside the outfit. They've worked hard for that. And that adds yet another winner to the list in 2025. Let's check those unofficial results for you. We've got Payne, Waters, Wood, De Pasquale, Kostecki, Brown, Hill. Remembering that Kostecki and Hill have got penalties to come, followed by LeBrock, Kai Allen and Andre Heimgartner. And so maximum points together with some bonus points also there for Matty Payne. Then James Golding, Will Davison, Davey Reynolds and Chaz Mostert recovering to 14th position from Brock Feeney. Work to come setup-wise on that car from Fullwood, Stanaway, Evans, Percat, Aaron Cameron, James Courtney was in the thick of it from Thomas Randall, Cooper Murray and Macaulay Jones. They had a problem with that car mid-race.